Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome back to MMTV, where there are new episodes weekly. Today is Sunday, January 23rd, 2022. I am Samantha, your host, and we are back with your favorite weekly segments. Starting off, Wesley is back with his question of the week. Today, he asks students for advice. This week, Christopher shares an original acoustical guitar piece on his segment Drum Studio.
My advice for students in the school would be don't stress about little things too much, and that everything will usually turn out fine.
Alright, so my piece of advice would definitely be take school seriously, but don't let it engulf your whole life. Like, you should still be able to have a social life and be able to do the things that you enjoy. Like, if you play sports, you should be able to enjoy your sports and not have to constantly worry about your schoolwork or biology. And you should actually be able to have fun, like, with your friends, and like go to sports games, or I don't know what people do nowadays. Maybe get a job, make some money, have some fun with that, but don't let school take over your entire life.
My advice is to get your work on time. Just don't let school like envelop your whole life, but like make sure to take it seriously.
So my biggest piece of advice is to make use of the library. We're a one-stop shop here for study hall passes if you need a quiet place to work or meet up with a classmate in order to get a project done. All kinds of reading, resources, great books, current collection, magazines, newspapers. We've got computers if you forget yours, if you need help printing, if you need just a moment to de-stress in the day, the library is the calm in the storm, away from the chaos.
Make sure you go to the events and have a lot of fun.
Alright, a piece of advice I have for Monument students is to go to all of our games and cheer on our teams and just be as loud as you can, because we're just always trying to out cheer the other team. So
a piece of advice I would have for Monument students is to recognize that school is not the most important thing in your life, and that your teachers don't have a right to control every aspect of your life or to ask for more than they deserve, and to stay true to what you know really matters, because a lot of times you can get really caught up in believing that school has a lot more hold of you than it really deserves to.
This past Friday, Semester 1 came to a close. Don't forget to check your schedule for Semester 2 changes starting tomorrow. Do you know what the top 10 fastest aircrafts are? I know I sure don't. Here's Veer this week with the answer. Sam then follows with his perspective on the video game Monster Hunter Rise. Don't forget, this Wednesday, the 26th, will be a half day due to teacher in service. We will be running the afternoon schedule. Now it's that time again. The news portion of the show is back. Julia is first up sharing all the current events, followed by Caden with the national sports news. Let's check it out. If you enjoy ice skating, there has been a new ice skating rink installed down by the greenhouse. It is open for anyone to enjoy. Next up, we have Wilbur, Pedro, and Lorenzo's segment regarding the development of Facebook.
Internet empezaba a tomar fuerzas en la población y la interacción con otros usuarios de ciberespacio ya era una realidad. Era la época gloriosa de Messenger de MSN, nacido en 1999 en el seno de Microsoft.
Una idea concebida por Mark Elliott Zuckerberg. En muy poco tiempo, la red social llegó. Una popularidad nunca antes vista en el mundo de Internet. Facebook nació en la Universidad de Harvard en los Estados Unidos. La red social fue lanzada el 4 de febrero de 2004 de Mark Zuckerberg. Dormitorio modesto. La idea era siempre, pero revolucionaria. Así nació el concepto de amigo de Facebook, que en el futuro inspiraría nuevas redes sociales como Twenty en España 2006 o incluso Twitter 2006. La polémica no ha quedado fuera de Facebook. Zuckerberg tuvo que enfrentar una demanda por robo de ideas presentadas por 3 de sus compañeros de la universidad. Finalmente, el funcionador de la red social pagó $65 millones para poner fin a la demanda. Al principio, Facebook se usaba internamente entre estudiantes de la Universidad de la Harvard, pero con el tiempo se abrió a cualquier persona con una cuenta de correo electrónico. Así nació la leyenda de Facebook y así empezó una nueva era. Facebook fue ganando más seguidores a medida que pasaba el tiempo. Sin embargo, su gran boom no llegó hasta que fue traducido a diferentes idiomas. Español, francés y alemán fueron los primeros para unirse a la red social alrededor del año 2007. Las traducciones del sitio web se llevan a cabo por los propios usuarios de la forma no remunerada. Cualquier internauta puede colaborar para que Facebook esté abierto a nuevos idiomas como el bielorruso o la azeri.
La seguridad de la red social es uno de los puntos que la empresa debe de tener en cuenta. De hecho, según datos de Cyber Psychology, Behavior and Social Networking 2013, más de la mitad de los usuarios quien borra su cuenta de Facebook lo hace por razones de privacidad.
Por otro lado, la red social debe aumentar la fidelización de sus usuarios activos. Muchos usuarios de Internet tienen una cuenta de Facebook, pero no la usan.
Recently, the State Department of Public Health and the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education has announced that they will be distributing rapid tests for students for at-home use. We will update you as information comes available. Ty is back this week, giving us an insight into other monument students. Sarah will then be discussing a Russian tale on her segment Fairy Tales of Old.
Matthew Fox is a junior student who attends Monument Mountain Regional High School. In school, Matt's favorite class is Auto with Mr. Danello. In this class, students learn automotive skills such as how to do maintenance on cars. Outside of school, Matthew relaxes and works from time to time. Matthew has worked as a sales associate for car hardware and has also worked as a busser at Park 51 in Lee, Massachusetts. And for hobbies, Matthew enjoys playing video games. One game in particular that he enjoys is called Vanguard. As far as interests go, Matthew is really interested in cars. And as far as the future goes, Matthew hopes to go to trade school and eventually become a plumber.
Hello, and welcome to Fairy Tales of Old, where every week we discuss and introduce an old fairy tale that's not as well known, and review it as well as provide possible facts. Last week, we reviewed the Japanese tale Urashima Taro, the story about a fisherman that saves a turtle and is rewarded for it by being given the opportunity to marry the princess of the sea. Now then, let's get into the story. This week, we'll be reviewing a Russian tale written by Alexander Afanasyev, originally written in 1862. This story is known by the title Vasilisa the Beautiful. In our beginning, we are introduced to Vasilisa, a young girl whose mother recently died and whose father remarried to a wicked woman who hated Vasilisa with all her being. One night, her father set out to travel abroad for his work and left her with her stepmother and stepsister. Her stepmother, taking advantage of his absence, demanded Vasilisa head out into the woods to see Baba Yaga on the pretense that they had no fire to light their candles. She agreed and set out into the woods with nothing but a magic doll her mother had given her before she died. She traveled deep into the woods and eventually came across Baba Yaga's hut. She greeted Baba Yaga cautiously and asked if she might be able to have some of her fire. Now, Baba Yaga was widely known across the lands as a vicious woman who ate any human who dared to approach, but she considered Vasilisa. She agreed to grant Vasilisa some fire, but only should she complete the tasks put to her. Vasilisa set to work at once and began the few impossible tasks that no human should have been able to do alone. But with the help of her magic doll, she was able to complete all of them in full. Once all the tasks were finished, Baba Yaga handed Vasilisa a skull that held the fire within. Vasilisa headed home with it, and when she gave the skull to her stepmother and sister, it burned them both to ashes. Now free from her wicked relations, she moved to the city where she stayed with an elderly woman and wove cloth for her in return for her help. One day, Vasilisa found great inspiration in her work and wove the most beautiful piece of cloth and gave it to the woman, telling her to sell it. The woman instead, though, brought it to the palace to give to the Tsar as a gift. The Tsar was so impressed with the cloth that he demanded to know who could weave such a masterpiece. The woman returned with Vasilisa, and the Tsar was so pleased that he married her and invited the old woman to stay along with the two of them. Eventually, Vasilisa's father returned from his trip as well, and was also invited to stay in the palace. And the magic doll that helped Vasilisa was always kept with her, as a remembrance to her past and the ordeal she had to endure. I personally really enjoyed the story and the haunting idea it presents with Baba Yaga. Though at the end, I feel the Tsar edition distracts from the intended moral and Vasilisa's clever way of escaping the witch. There was also an alternate version of the story where instead of Baba Yaga presenting Vasilisa with the skull, she plans to roast her and Vasilisa has to figure out a way to escape. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's story, and this has been Fairy Tales of Old.
Now it's time for this week's lunch schedule. Monday starts off strong with the options of hamburger, cheeseburger, or veggie burger. Tuesday they will be serving baked ziti with a dinner roll on the side. Wednesday there will be no lunch due to the half day. Then we finish off the week with Thursday's chicken nuggets and Friday's cheese pizza. To finish off our evening tonight, me and Dakota discussed the hit Netflix show Bridgerton, and then Clementine and Quimby shared an episode of Adventures of the Little Guy.
Hello everyone and welcome back to me and Dakota's TV review. Today we are reviewing Bridgerton. The show is based off a book written by Julia Quinn. It's about living in a high society life in 1830. The show follows the Bridgertons. The widowed mother has 8 kids, 4 boys and 4 girls. Currently, it is Daphne's time to join the society life and get ready to be married off. The Bridgerton life includes a lot of dresses and balls, and since the father of the Bridgertons have passed away, the older brother Anthony must take place after the Viscountess and find a suitable husband for his sister. The family has this tradition of naming their kids alphabetically, with Anthony, Benedict, Colin, Daphne, Eloise, Francesca, Gregory, and Hyacinth, while only the older ones are allowed to attend the balls. Daphne is a woman who loves romance and can't wait to marry and have her own children. She struggles early on in the show when her brother was too protective and everybody was threatened by him. Anthony is struggling with being the leader of the house. He falls in love with this opera singer, but since they are from two different societies, it would never work. He thinks he's doing the right thing for his sister by finding a great man, but he made choices that weren't so great. Benedict, he loves to draw, but he never believes in his talent. He is the second child and tries to find out what to do with his life since he doesn't have to run anything, but it's still important to stay in the public eye. He meets an artist and he offered Benedict to join his parties. The parties are more out there than Benedict needs, and now he needs to figure out if this is the life for him or not. Eloise is just a year or two younger than Daphne. They are opposite. She doesn't want anything to do with the society life. She wants to go to school and get a job, but since she is a woman, in that time it wasn't really allowed. She loves to write and later tries to uncover the identity of Lady Whistledown. Lady Whistledown, she writes everything out in her own newsletter. She talks about all the gossip and all of her beliefs. Now, going back to Daphne, Daphne met the Duke of Hastings, and he's one of Anthony's best friends. But the Duke didn't want to find love, and all the girls were looking at him. And Daphne wanted to find love, but none of the boys were looking at them, so they decided to team up so that way the girls would stop bothering them and all eyes would be on Daphne. Well, some things have happened, and they ended up falling in love with each other after a strange marriage, and then they had a kid of their own. So the show only has one season so far on Netflix. The second season will come out March 25th. I would recommend the show, and we just covered the top layer of drama that the show contains. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.
That finishes off our segments of the week. Thank you so much for your continuous support. As always, if you have any suggestions, we would love to hear them. Please send us any suggestions to our email, monument.tv2021@gmail.com. We hope you have a great start to the new semester, and we are looking forward to seeing you next Sunday. Same time, same channel. This has been Samantha from MMTV, signing off. Stay safe, everyone.